Have you ever found yourself experiencing extremely strong feelings that came seemingly out of nowhere? Maybe you hardly even spent a lot of time around somebody, met them through a coworker, maybe went on a couple of dates, or maybe had a very short-lived relationship with this person. But either way, your infatuation seemed to come on so strongly and so fast that it was even difficult to let go of. Perhaps like Jacqueline in today's episode of Ask Thais, you might have even found that you ruminate about your ex nonstop, even though they didn't even play much of an expansive or extensive role in your life. Well, if this sounds like you, today we're going to cover why this actually happens, what this extreme infatuation really is, and we're going to go through an exercise together at the end for how we can actually overcome limerence, which is what these strong feelings really are about, once and for all, so we can leave this excessive rumination in the past where it actually belongs. So this question comes out of Florida, Jacqueline from Florida. And Jacqueline says, I keep thinking about my ex nonstop. It has been more than 6 months. We hardly went on many dates. And even though I was feeling better for a while after the breakup, I keep finding myself thinking of them all the time now. Why is this happening and what can I do? So there's some really important things that I want to cover with you, okay? Number one, we have to talk about what this extreme infatuation is and why we can't let it go. And then we'll go through this exercise here to actually leave it in the past together. My hope for you is that by the end of this exercise, you are able to actually move through this in a very short period of time and get relief and also learn some really powerful things about yourself as a result. If you're new here, by the way, my name is Thais. I'm the founder of the Personal Development School. I ran a very busy client-based practice for about a decade, and I now put daily videos out here on YouTube and actually run the Personal Development School itself, where we have had about 30,000 students come through and take courses or become a member, and it really helps you understand your subconscious mind. So if you're similar to Jacqueline and you've ever had these experiences where you develop these really strong feelings and you couldn't shake them, this extreme infatuation, where it can actually be kind of destabilizing to your life, is usually the result of limerence. Limerence is like really intense infatuation where you may find yourself having a hard time eating, sleeping, because you just focus on this person so much. You may even find yourself kind of clamming up around somebody that you have limerence for, where you get so nervous you can't even like be yourself or express yourself around this person. This is actually very common for a lot of people. And it represents a few crucial things about the relationship we have to ourselves. Limerence really is all about a few things we're going to do here together in an exercise. So you can sort of come in here and follow along if you'd like. But you'll see the first part of limerence and why we actually experience limerence is because we are attaching to somebody who's expressing deeply unmet needs. Okay, this is a really important piece. An example of this, and these are the most common needs that we'll often see, is let's say you meet somebody, maybe you even only have like 1 or 2 interactions with them or very high level interactions with them across time. But if they make you feel really seen, if they make you feel really protected, they make you feel like they're really sticking up for you, looking out for you, having your back, they make you feel special or important. These types of needs that they're meeting, whether you realize that they're actually doing this or not in real time, these needs are things that often children grow up yearning for from their parents and caregivers. And funnily enough, what's not met in our childhood, we will tend to really want to be connected to in our adult lives with other people. So let's say that you met somebody and they were very present. So they made you feel the need was to feel seen. They made you feel really seen or really valued. Maybe they encouraged you. Maybe they made you feel special or important. When we have these types of dynamics where somebody is meeting these needs for us, what actually happens is our subconscious mind will attach to this person in the fantasy, because we don't have the capacity or feel that we have the capacity to get those needs met effectively enough as much as we need them in reality, in the present moment. And so if you don't have somebody in your life who's making you feel very seen, or they're very present with you, or they're encouraging you, or making you feel special or important, and one person comes along who does that, if your subconscious mind has had a void here and has been starving for this need for a long period of time, It will do everything it can to try to attach to this person in your life as a subconscious strategy to actually attach to the need. Okay. So this is part A. Okay. So I actually want to go through this here together. And I'm going to just summarize this in one sentence. Your subconscious mind will attempt to attach to a person as a strategy to attach to the need, or in other words, get the need met. Another thing you need to know is if we can't get our needs met in reality, our mind will go into fantasy. We will imagine a world where we are connected with that person. And this will cause us to ruminate, which was part of Jacqueline's question. I dated this person for a short period of time. What is going on? Why can I not stop thinking about them? So here's the first step of our exercise. We'll actually put the exercise below. I'll share a couple other things with you first, then we'll do the exercise together. So the first thing you need to know is that there's unmet needs. Here are the reasons why. The second thing that you want to understand is that it's also the self you get to express when you're around that person. So let's say that you meet somebody and they're really spontaneous. Maybe they bring out that spontaneity in you. You may find yourself really attaching to them, really fantasizing about them, but it may actually be that a deep part of you is yearning to move from a very rigid, uptight life into a space of more flexibility and spontaneity. And so you yearn for that person because you're actually yearning for the aspects of self that you are not expressing until they are the excuse or the catalyst to bring those things about. So, traits, they cause you, we'll put cause in kind of quotation marks because it's not really them causing you, but they're like a catalyst. The traits they cause you to express, okay? Or you can think of the identity you express when around them, okay? And these will be big things that play a huge role. And last but not least, another huge reason that you may find yourself ruminating about somebody latching onto them is because you're telling old stories. We'll go through what this means. These can be stories like, I'll never meet somebody like this again. Um, what else do we have? We'll never meet someone like this again. I'll be alone forever. Nobody will care for me like that. Maybe nobody will understand me as much as they did. And we get really attached to like knowing our future forever. We're like, oh, never, this will never happen again. And the more we do that, the more we're going to over attach to somebody, even if they may not be the perfect or right person for us long term. So hopefully now you see these really important components. Okay. Now you see we have these unmet needs, we have these traits, we're telling old stories. We're going to do this exercise here. We work through limerence together. Okay. And this is going to look like number one, and I'm going to actually, hopefully you got a chance to read through this part. We're actually going to do these unmet needs together. So I want you to ask yourself, think of the person, what we can call your object of limerence, the person you were really infatuated with, the person you had all these feelings for. And then what I want you to do is I want you to ask yourself, what needs did they actually meet in your life? Or what needs did they hold the promise of meeting? So for some people, it'll be things like they made me feel seen, or they made me feel really important. It can be important, it can be seen, etc. And what I want you to do is take some time and actually drop those things out on paper. Okay. Once you realize that they made you feel these things, now I want you to ask yourself this next question, okay, which is going to fall under this needs category. And it's, how good of a job do you do at meeting these needs in your own life? Okay. So what you'll see here is oftentimes you will yearn for somebody to see you because you're not seeing yourself. You're not present with how you're feeling. You're not checked in and tuned in to your own emotions, your own boundaries, your own dreams or goals. So somebody comes along that represents this. And because it's running on empty in the relationship to yourself, you over attach to it very quickly in others. And then because you're yearning for it, you may project all these fantasies and all these ideas of this person who's going to see you and understand you. Another version would be if somebody makes you feel really important. Well, maybe you take a look and you realize, oh, I'm not making myself a priority. So I never make myself feel important. I put myself last. I people please all the time. So when somebody comes along that makes you feel important, it's going to feel like, oh my gosh, you're hungering for this. You need to latch on or grab onto this person because your subconscious mind is actually yearning for these needs to be met in your own life. The next part is traits that cause you to express. So I want you to ask yourself this question here for this one, which is, who do I seem to become or get to become when around this person? Am I somebody that gets to laugh more? Am I more carefree? Am I more spontaneous? Do I feel like I have more freedom? Am I more easygoing? Because in this person's presence, they bring out these traits in me. And then what I want you to ask yourself is, how much do you express these parts of yourself without this person? Okay. And what you're going to see is probably the answer is pretty low. I don't really feel like I'm carefree with anybody, or too in the moment with anybody, or present, or whatever it might be that this person's seeming to bring out of you. And again, this person, when we have these feelings so fast, so early, it's usually not because we know the person really deeply and that we've fallen in love. It's usually that they represent these missing parts of ourselves, these missing needs from our lives, these missing traits we get to express. And so we really are yearning for these parts of ourselves. And so we project all this fantasy onto this person, even if we've only had a couple of interactions. It's not that they aren't actually meeting the needs or helping you express these traits. They often are. But we can feel like we have such strong feelings for somebody we hardly know, because we have such strong feelings for these traits and needs that we're trying to subconsciously attach to. Last but not least, do you have any limiting stories that are causing you to feel like you're not even going to be in a healthy relationship or a loving relationship? And I want you to ask yourself what these stories are. I'll never meet someone like this again. Nobody will ever want me in a relationship. We can tell these really painful stories, and these really painful stories can be things that cause us to feel like we really are in lack, and we need to hold on to anybody who's going to give us attention or meet needs, or help us bring out different traits in ourselves, because we can be coming from such a lack mentality space in our relationships. So what do we do next? Okay, we've got these first couple parts of the exercise. The next part is, what are some strategies, okay, to meet your unmet needs that this person represented? Right? If this person was like, they met the need to make you feel seen or protected or important, and all of a sudden you're thinking about them nonstop, you have to learn to protect yourself, right? Set better boundaries, assert yourself better, practice taking up space in your relationships in healthy ways. If it's feeling important, prioritize yourself more. If it's feeling present, they were making you feel seen or heard, practice journaling or meditating, or things that are getting you in touch with the relationship to self. Then with the traits, how can I express these traits more? Okay. Um, and you can actually practice. How can I make room for flexibility in my life, or being more carefree or spontaneous? What are activities I can do to do that? And actually doing these things intentionally will help you realize that this person that you keep ruminating about is actually representing these deeply unmet needs, these deeply unexpressed traits and parts of self. So we attach to that person as a subconscious strategy for wholeness within ourselves. And then before I go into stories, I will just say, if you want to check out a free Limerence course that I have in a lot more detail than this, where it actually lists out all the needs and all the traits, I'll put the link down below, a full course all about limerence with a workbook, worksheets, needs list, traits list, everything. And you can actually break through and go through the worksheets. It's going to help just shorten the period of time to really come out the other side of this. And then last but not least, of course, what old stories do I have? Can you really know these stories are true? Do you have 3 pieces of evidence to counteract them? This is really important. We question our stories. We don't just believe our thoughts on autopilot, because a lot of our thoughts come from pre-programmed and painful experiences that we haven't had the opportunity to properly resolve. So by digging into these 3 steps, understanding what's actually going on, you can get to the bottom of rumination and transform it into something that's going to help grow you and heal you as a person at the same time. So that's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to this channel. Thank you for stopping by. And if you want to check out that free Limerence course, click the link down below. Thank you for watching.